Hello again, this is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner, a distinguished panel of panels. Panel of comics. I can't speak. There's so much going on today that I can't even speak. Carlos Alazraqui is back. Brian Malow is back with us. And our co-executive producer, Tom Sawyer, is joining us as well today. We'll come back to Brian a little bit later. I want to talk to you about living in Mexico and what it's like going back and forth across the border. But, what everybody's talking about here on Wednesday, as we record Wednesday, we drop out Thursdays. So some things may have changed by the time you see or hear this podcast. Everything is it's all Jeffrey Epstein all the time. And it's making Trump absolutely crazy. So here, I'm just going to throw out just a couple of things that have happened over the course of the last couple of days in regard to this. Trump was at the FIFA Club World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It's FIFA, forgive me, FIFA. It's soccer, right?
Well, it's pronounced corruption.
It's corruption.
The F is silent.
So at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, and you see the video. People are booing him during the anthem. People are booing him he came up on the jumbotron during the anthem, and the whole place is booing him. They're flipping him off. Then at the end of it, when he walked out on the field to help present the cup, they're booing him and they're flipping him off. Funny part is, if you look at like the New York Post and some of the other MAGA friendly publications, they say that he got thunderous applause. So that's how propaganda works. That he got, but you look at the video, they're flipping him off, and a lot of these are his supporters. There are viral videos. I've seen several of them of people who are burning their MAGA hats. They're putting them on the Weber and putting lighter fluid on. One guy made a big show out of taking a torch and saying this is not, I didn't vote for a pedophile. They're saying stuff like that. Legitimate news reporters who've covered Trump for years say that they have never seen him like this. That there's something that he's just not the way that he's full of shit like he always is, but he's rattled. They're saying he's really, really rattled. When
he knows something we don't know.
Yeah, well, I think so. When asked about the Epstein files, he obfuscates now, and this is the thing, I'm just shaking my head, but of course it's him. He says that, well, first there were no files. Remember, the memo came out, there are no files, there's no evidence, they're closing to nothing. Now, it turns out there are files, but the files were written by, according to him, Obama and Biden. And they're a hoax.
Comey.
And Comey, that's right. Comey, Obama, and Biden. They sat down together and they had time to sit down and write this.
Boys will be boys.
He tried to change the subject, which is what he usually does. And this time he tried it with a Rosie O'Donnell thing. And it's not working. It is not working. Mark
He's
Epstein,
just the worst liar. He's unbelievable. He thought it would be good to that whole, like, you guys are still talking about this Jeffrey Epstein. Like, is that his last name, Epstein? Like, acting like.
The only files I know about are nail files. That they're Epstein's nail files that he had in prison. Those are the only files that I know about.
I saw Mark Epstein. He wouldn't show his face, though, actually, on Jim Acosta's podcast yesterday and YouTube show. And it was a fascinating interview. He said that Jeffrey told him in 2016 that he didn't go into detail, but said he had dirt on Trump that if he released would cancel the 2016 election. Steve Bannon, who in 2016, again, I'm just throwing all this stuff out and we'll go from there. Steve Bannon, who was Trump's campaign manager during the 2016 campaign, said during that campaign that the only thing he feared was Jeffrey Epstein, as far as the campaign was concerned. A couple of days ago, in the dead of night, the Republicans blocked a bill that would have forced release of the files. Epstein, this is fascinating. Epstein accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was serving I believe it's a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein, is saying, if you're saying there are no files, there's no blackmail, what am I in jail for? Mm-hmm. And she is offered to testify before Congress, and the Republicans won't let her. The Republicans will not let her. So I guess the question I'm going to ask you with all this is, are we Well, actually, it's twofold. First is, are we seeing the beginning of the end? Because the fact you have MAGA supporters, Trump supporters who are turning against him on this. A new poll out: 79% of Americans want the files released. 79%. Democrats, Republicans, 79%. 67% say there's a cover up, and both of those numbers include large numbers of Trump supporters. So, first of all, as I said, are we seeing the beginning of the end since they're turning? And second of all, why this? All the shit that he's done, from, I mean, being convicted of being found liable for sexual assault to the insurrection.
It had to be something.
You can go
something
on
had
and
to
on.
break the dam. At some point, something had to give.
I think if you're asking why this, it's the quintessential taboo. It's the universally recognized taboo of having sex with children, of being a pedophile. That stretches beyond racism, beyond economics, beyond culture. That is the one taboo, I think, universally that anybody of any political ilk is going to come together on.
Plus,
That's why.
I think somehow.
Go ahead, Brian.
It's also combined with, so it's that, and it was all targeted at Democrats and liberals. And it's like, oh, we've got them. It's these liberal elites that are stealing adrenochrome from their blood, or they're vampires and pedophiles. And so they've had this huge, it's all about getting the liberals.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say.
And we all know that Al Franken got ousted for posing with his hands in front of a female's breast. And so the Democrats are ready to go. Ted Lieu is up there going, let's do it. Doesn't matter who's on it.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. Let's do this. You guys talk a big game.
Well, it's the big difference between the right and the left is that the left wants justice, period.
Yeah.
We don't, consequences be damned. We want justice, you know?
Yeah. Anthony Weiner showed his wiener, had to be gone. And that was with an adult. That was a consenting adult. Yeah. And so, again, this tracks into the territory of this is forbidden by all walks of life. We like if you're in a prison and you're a pedophile and you go to prison, like Epstein, who was killed, you're gonna the gangs that are normally against each other will uniformly come together to kill that pedophile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because a lot of them were molested as children, which set them on the path to where they are.
But let me ask you this. A good question. It's still a good question because look at everything.
That's it.
That hasn't been enough.
Yes.
It's like wow, but so many of them are, and a lot of people didn't predict it. Like a lot of smart people that I've been listening to are like, yeah, I didn't see this being the thing.
Right.
No, and that's what I don't get. Why was this the straw? I mean, again, this is horrible. I mean,
you can beat up cops in Washington D.C., but you can't.
Yeah.
You can rape whoever you want to rape. You can brag about rape,
brag about sexual assault, all of the stuff that this guy has done. I mean, there's so much you can't even remember. When the books are written, when the history books are written, people are going to go, that didn't happen.
Well, the thing about it is too, as far as like all the other women could be liars. The left did that too with Clinton, unfortunately. In the 90s,
Paula Jones,
when we weren't listening to back in the day, and. But with Epstein is no one is denying Epstein was a pedophile. No one was denying that he was grooming her, and the stories are so unbelievably creepy that they're out there. They're already out there. There's no turning that bus around.
They're on somebody's desk.
Yeah.
let me ask you guys this: if there was something with Kevin Spacey that I came across where I guess somebody mentioned that Spacey had been on Epstein's plane or something, or may have gone to the island or something, and he released a statement saying, "Please release the files." Yeah. There's nothing in. I have nothing to hide. I didn't do anything, so please release them. So if in fact you're Trump, and if in fact you didn't do anything, why? Or let me say you're not Trump, just you. If your names came up in connection with this, would you be demanding that they release the file since you did nothing?
Yeah, because otherwise I'm under suspicion.
Exactly.
And I don't want to be under suspicion if I know that I'm innocent of everything.
So that's what I'm getting. You would too?
If I flew to the island, I didn't do anything or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead and release it. Because all I did is, Dershowitz is pretty much doing that, right? He was defending some of those people. He was accused by people, and he apparently won those lawsuits because he's Dershowitz and has all kinds of money. But he's kind of hesitant, though, on releasing it. He used to be a little bit more for it, but now he's kind of backing off a little bit.
Well, Dershowitz represented Epstein on a couple of them.
Not only that, but he was at the island a number of times.
Yeah.
And the whole, I had a massage from a 17-year-old, but it's okay because I was in my underwear.
Yeah, it's the whole Giuliani and Borat, starting to take off the pants. They're all, and I think we might be shocked. Prince Philip, or is it Prince Andrew rather?
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew in his underwear. Yeah, I think somebody said, I heard it on Stephanie Miller, we were discussing that if you were to release this, it would crumble the establishments all over the world. And Michelle, I'm like, who cares? Let's start over.
Go for it.
Look what we've done so far. And Tom was alluding to that. I saw a great tweet or a thing on Threads where just believe women. Why does it have to come to this stupid list when all these women are coming forward and saying, this happened to me? Just believe them.
Okay, now, but here's the thing. And I do the show called The Great American Shit Show, which is a series of monologues on life in the Trump era. And I'm doing, in fact, this Saturday night, I've got a show in Berkeley at the Marsh Theater. And I've got a whole monologue about that and about Me Too. And that is the mantra to believe women. But what you have to realize when you say that, and I'm not saying don't believe women, is that comes with a lot of baggage for Black people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up raised by a grandmother who was raised in Jim Crow Birmingham, who told me all the story about Emmett Till, a white woman lied. About the Scottsboro boys who spent decades in prison because two white women lied and claimed to have been raped. You can't, just automatically because a woman says something, believe her. However,
it's relative to what's going on, though.
You need to take it seriously, and you need to thoroughly investigate. You need to not dismiss women. That's what I say. You don't dismiss them. You take what it is that they say seriously, and you go through and you corroborate it. You don't just dismiss them out of hand or ignore them, and that's what happens. That's what the problem is. Just, you don't blanket believe. If you walked into the police department and said, I saw a guy robbing a bank or breaking into a house, they're not going to just take you at your word. They'll go and they'll investigate.
Right. Yeah, you can't make a general statement like that. But relative to this situation where it's about rape and people have come forward and say, Donald Trump raped me, Andrew raped me, in that specific contest, this is where I'm asking to believe the women. With Harvey Weinstein, with people like that.
Cosby.
In a general sense, yeah, that's a little bit too broad to say believe women whenever they say every subject, of course, but this
and I think that's where a lot of people go wrong and make the mistake. Basically, we're just saying, hey, treat it seriously.
Yes, absolutely treat it, and don't ignore them and don't dismiss them. And that's where the problem has come in the society. Women are ignored and dismissed, not just in this context. Just the way that women are treated in society, in the workplace. You're walking down the street, women of a certain age are just ignored. They're invisible.
In most of the three popular religions, the big three, as it were, women are second tier. We've blindly accepted, and women do this too. We've blindly accepted that God is a man and the Savior is a son. Muhammad is a Savior. Allah is a God, is a man. Who says so? It's all made up. But women have bought into this, that Jesus is my Savior. Why? He's a dude. Why would you believe that? It's made up.
Well, the whole Mary Magdalene thing, they believe that Mary Magdalene was actually the wife of Jesus instead, when they were writing the Bible.
The wife or the mother?
The wife. They believe that and they made her a prostitute. She was a prostitute who hung around with the apostles. It's just
she was putting bad thoughts in Jesus's head.
I'm going to get really weird here because with the treatment of women and believing women, I just finished Dracula, Bram Stoker, never read it, but there was a review of it and the review of Nosferatu, and it said the problem is with even Coppola's version is that Lucy ends up being a flirty flirt, which she's not in the book. And Mina ends up going, I'm in love with him, which she's not in the book. She's really smart. She's the one that plans everything and gets it all together and rescues her husband. And she's super strong. And Coppola turns her into a freaking waif.
I haven't read it. Don't
read the book, and you'll see where Coppola fails, turning Mina into this, take me away from all this death. She never said that in the book. She was tough as nails.
Okay, but how many books that are translated to film are really accurate and true?
Right. going off the beaten path here, but I mean specific to this situation of how we treat women. We don't believe women because women are second tier, and it starts with the religion. It starts with all the saviors in the world, and Allah, and Muhammad, and Christ, and God. Man. Bullshit. It's bullshit.
Who destroyed the Garden of Eden?
Woman.
Yeah. So it starts there. That's what, and it just keeps going. And the sad part is, not the majority, but a strong minority of women buy into it themselves. And
that's
have
the sad part.
Low self-esteem issues because of it.
Yeah. To get back to Epstein, let me read this. This again, Trump's losing it. This is these are excerpts from his Truth Social post this morning,
boy.
Wednesday morning.
All caps.
He's turning on his own supporters. He says, quote, "The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, ! Just like with the fake and fakes in caps, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom, ! And even the Russia scam itself, a total fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates." Let's see. He says, also, unlike Republicans, they stick together. What Democratic Party is he talking about?
That's the biggest.
What Democrats are these?
That's the wrongest statement in the whole thing.
Yes, unlike the Republicans, they stick together like glue. Yeah. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters, and past is in all caps, and my past supporters have bought into this bullshit. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I've had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work, and don't even think of talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore! ! Wow. Thank you for your attention in this matter. All caps, make America great again! !
Oh, Steve Bannon turned on him because of him using that it's a hoax.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like I said, something had to wake everybody up. I mean, this is a guy who's been screaming about Jeffrey Epstein and
Pam Bondi,
and Pam Bondi's same thing. And now you're telling people the opposite, and people are going, wait a second, we're not buying this. And everybody, it's amazing to me the majority of all of these, the podcasters, who's that guy?
Schultz.
Yeah. He just did a podcast where him and his co-host are wearing tin hats because they fell for it. They fell for Trump.
Good. I made a post on Threads, a video today that it's not enough to say, oh, this is what I voted for. It's like, that's a ridiculous statement. Ever since 2015, when he made fun of a reporter and went, I don't know what I said, that's exactly who you voted for. You saw January 6th. That's exactly what you voted for. So now, not only don't apologize for it.
The tapes on the bus, for God's sakes.
I don't want Joe Rogan and Schultz to apologize and say I was fooled. I want you to go full-throated and say Donald Trump is a dangerous piece of shit human being. He's garbage. Anybody who listens to my show, if you like him, don't listen to my show. Never vote for people like this again in your lives, because I will stand with you. What Schultz has done, I said, that's like Rosa Parks sitting in the middle of the bus. Nah, this is good enough. Fuck that. Go to the front of the bus. Stand in front of that tank in Tiananmen Square, not off to the side. Have some fucking balls. They're such beta males, intellectually speaking. There you go.
And then there are others who are remaining in the tank and are following the script. Charlie Kirk, from what I understand, is continuing to.
He looks pathetic, and he honestly, he was at what was the CPAC thing or whatever that was. He started going back, and he got booed. The base is not having it. They're looking for blood, and he got a ton of shit on Twitter, and he's still getting shit for defending Trump.
Well, Trump is setting Pam Bondi up to be the fall.
Oh yeah,
but
he said she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, but the more he pushes back and does what he did today, what you just read, the more it doesn't look like Pam Bondi's the one who's holding up this train. He's the one who's holding up,
spouting obvious lies. Yeah,
and good luck denying that, because and what happens when she goes, wait a second, I wanted to release it, but Donald Trump told me not to, when she gets pushed out the door.
Yeah. It's always my hope, and I've done this on that other show that I do. I just hope he goes down like Robert De Niro on Cape Fear.
That's
mumblings.
As much fun as this all is, and has exciting,
we shouldn't call it fun.
Trying to be optimistic about it.
We shouldn't
I don't know. I think a lot of us are saying
women were hurt. A lot of girls were hurt. A lot of girls.
Right. But just seeing what's happening to their party and see the fighting and the lack of support but I'm still not convinced, because when people say that this is the thing, it's like, have we not learned anything about it?
You're right.
It's like, I hope this does something more, but
it's like a fucking starfish where you cut off pieces of the starfish and cut off a leg and throw in the water, the whole starfish grows.
The difference is that the other part of the equation, which is the effect the tariffs are having on the economy, or will have on the economy, is coming.
Double
and
barrel.
It's already hitting. I mean, I called. I get my coffee from New Orleans since the first time I had it in the 90s. I have it shipped to me from there because it's so good, and that I got these bags in that were pound bags, and I weighed them, and they were 12 ounces, and I called them up and I go, "What's with these bags? I think somebody made a mistake. They're 12 ounces, not a pound." And they go, "Oh, that's what we're doing right now. Instead of charging you more, we're charging you the same for
less,
for a fifth less."
Wow.
20% less. So in other words, so I said to her, in other words, you've raised the price 20%.
20%. Yeah.
She goes, yes, that's what we're having to do. And the industry
my coffee place, it's the same thing. My coffee place, I get my beans ground for drip, and I pick them up, and it's a $2 surcharge. It's a $2 surcharge.
Eventually, that's going to be everything, and then that's when people are gonna. That's the ground has been set. That with the next phase is the tariffs and what they're going to do to the economy, and then what you're seeing right now is going to see so many Republicans losing their seats, especially the House. The House is already a foregone conclusion at this point. They're talking.
Wait, we got a long way to go. November of 2026 is a long way.
Worse. That's what I'm telling you right now. As bad as it is, 6 months in, it's only going to get worse.
I hope you're right.
I want to believe.
Part of me is with Brian too, though.
I'll gladly put money on this one.
Good. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I mean, I do think that there's. I can't say it with that confidence, though, but it sure seems like there are so many pieces in play with the tariffs and the effects and other countries finding other trading partners and things that are still going to kick in, and all the cuts to science and medicine.
And not only that, but the incompetence of all of his cabinet.
Every single one.
Yeah, just incredibly incompetent and incredibly corrupt.
There's also a spurned South African billionaire out there with his own platform that might help us kick in too. And somebody says, I don't want any help. And I'm like, when you're trying to kill a vampire, Bram Stoker again, I'll take anything. A steak, a gun, a shoe, a chancla.
A wolf man.
I'll take anybody. A wolf man, the invisible man. Everybody is welcome to take down this beast. And right now, I think he is. He is that bull with all the big giant needles in him. And you're waiting for that final thing. You're waiting for that stake through the heart. And then Van Helsing to come by and just go schling. So we're almost there, but that vampire is still alive.
We're not almost there. But the thing is, though, what makes this different, Brian, is that we've never seen this before. We have never, the people, once they put that red hat on, it's like they check their brains at the door, and that's it. And now, for the first time, with them saying, "What the hell did I do?" And you, as I said, have you seen any of these viral videos of people burning their hats?
I haven't.
So they're saying, though, I think Steve Bannon said it. If you lose 10% of MAGA, the hardcore, the cult, You lose just 10% of the cult.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose like 40 to 60 seats in the House, because there's the cult, and that's a majority still, but it's only like a little more than half of the Republican Party, which is less than a third of the country. Yeah. So if the cult goes away, then you got all these other people, especially the podcast, the bros. You lose those guys with all that influence that I believe won Trump the election. Mm-hmm. Things going to change pretty drastically and radically.
Now you're going to see will always be diehard Trump cultists, even if this is in fact the beginning. Then because you got to remember after Jonestown, I'm talking a couple of years after Jonestown, you still had people who had been members of his church who still believed in him and believed in what it was that he.
All you need to do is go on TikTok. I mean, if you go on TikTok, I accidentally hit a Trump streaming thing, and they're there. They're crazy.
But maybe
they're not going away.
There's probably a group that they won't vote for a Democrat, but maybe they won't go out to the polls and vote for the Republican.
That's why I think it's going to be a landslide. It's going to be a slaughter in the midterms.
You really think that would be wonderful? What use are they when you can circumvent Congress and just go straight to the Supreme Court and just start cutting everything,
I mean, it's just unbelievable that the ruling this week that allows him to unilaterally close down the Justice of the Department of Education. However, that they wouldn't let Biden get rid of student loan debt because for that he needed Congress.
But that's the beauty of look. This might sound really optimistic, but it's sort of like. It's sort of like
I see like balloon emojis and shit.
Are you on ketamine?
Happy? No,
Tom's on ketamine.
I'm saying you've got to do to make the big changes we need to make, and I'm praying that the Democrats understand that there's a window here finally, and they let it go in 2008, and I'm hoping that this time they take advantage of it. We really need some drastic changes to be made in this country. There needs to be a retroactive term limits on the Supreme Court justice, all of them. There shouldn't be more than 18 years.
You can't do that.
Biden had it right the first time.
You can't do that.
You can't do it.
You can't do it. You can't do it retroactively, Tom. But you're right about.
I'm sorry. See, this is what just really climbs up my ass. This is what the left always.
That's what it is.
We can't do it. It just can't be done because it's not nice.
It's not about not being nice. I'm just saying that it's legal.
Hey, I'm all for dragging them out on the street right now and just booting them to the curb. It's time to put on the boxing gloves. It's time to put on the hard hat and get to work. It's time to stop being nice. Fuck that noise. Yeah. It's time to really be hard asses and stop with the norms. Hey, everybody, let's be nice and play together and let's do it bipartisan thing. No, it's time to go. The Supreme Court, you have a lot of good reasons to do this because they're so blatantly corrupt, and
Clarence Thomas, good Lord.
Yeah, it's time to just go. Enough is enough. We need to stop. They're not kings too. That's what the problem with the Supreme Court right now. Mm-hmm. They think they're kings.
Yeah, they
can do anything that they want to do.
Let me stop you. Let me ask you this question. There was some talk during the Biden administration. In fact, there was actually a push in some corners for him to try to do what FDR tried to do and pack the Supreme Court, add seats. Do you think that he made a mistake by not doing that?
Yeah, while he was out there, he probably should have tried to do that. That would have been the right move, foreseeing what this was going to be in Project 2025. Yeah, if he was able to do it, if he was actually able to do it and didn't do it, that to me is something that he would be remiss about.
I mean, and I was thinking today, I saw a picture of Mitch McConnell with a guy who'd been a state chairman. I can't remember what state, one of the southern states for Trump. And then afterwards, this guy shortly afterwards was arrested for pedophilia and rape and all of this stuff. But I'm looking at McConnell and I'm thinking about how much damage Mitch McConnell has brought to this country.
Sure.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, we wouldn't have this court situation wouldn't be what it is, and the damage that they've done to the poor and to the rights of women and the rights of people of color and everything else. If Obama had been able to fill the seat like he should have been able to, you know, if he hadn't held on to that seat and held it for Trump, so that Trump got 2 appointments.
Oh, dude, I go back even further. If Ralph Nader is an adult and says, I cannot win this race, I want my supporters to vote for Gore because we risk having something worse than what we do now. This, to me, is on Ralph Nader. We have an entirely different country, an entirely different Supreme Court, if not for the selfishness of Ralph Nader. And I will not pull back on that. He had no shot at winning the race. You don't vote third party after a primary. It does nothing. Good day, sir.
I remember President John Anderson having a pretty successful term.
Pretty successful, yeah.
President John Anderson, yes.
Yeah, but not in today's politics. There's no way he stays in the race. If I'm that guy and go, I can't win and I don't want to risk Bush, I tell my followers, I'm dropping out. You need to vote for something that you don't want, like an adult does. You don't get everything you want, because if you don't, we're going to get something worse. I have foresight. If I run and jeopardize this election for Al Gore, I will ruin the Supreme Court for years to come. He knew that, and he blew it.
Let me ask you this. Okay, let's play imaginary history. All right, let's say Gore wins. Do we end up with Obama? Or if Gore wins, we don't have Obama. If Gore wins, we probably end up with a Republican.
I think Obama was unstoppable.
Yeah, but it's relative.
We didn't win because he didn't win because we said, oh, collectively we want a black guy. He won because he was so
dynamic.
No. People hated George W. Bush. Yeah, my favorite story from that campaign. Favorite story is there was somebody canvassing in Pennsylvania. It was a pollster. And knocks on the door. A woman housewife opens the door, and he says, I'm a pollster. Wanted to know if you can tell me who you plan to vote for in the election. And from the back of the house, the pollster hears a man say, "Who is it, honey?" And she says, "Oh, this guy wants to know who we're voting for." And from the back of the house, the husband says, "Tell him we're going to vote for the N-word." That's what it says. And so that's when I knew Obama was going to win, because Bush had even alienated the racist. He'd even alienated the racists. So what I'm saying to people that did not like George W. Bush, that of course Obama was dynamic and inspirational, all those things. Absolutely. However, it was in part just as Trump was a backlash to the Obama administration in 8 years of Obama. Obama was a backlash to 8 years of Bush. So if we had 8 years of Gore, I don't think we have Obama in 2000.
But you're introducing a hypothetical. That's not factual. It's a hypothetical. But in that hypothetical, then I could say we have a better Supreme Court. Twin Towers never come down. We never get dragged into a war. So there's lots of great things that would have happened regardless of not having Obama. Lots of much better things for the future would have happened had Gore won that race.
All right, let me throw this.
To Live Nation.
Yeah.
Let me throw this out. This was something somebody had mentioned to me, so I tried it. It was an idea. I've been playing around with ChatGPT a lot lately, and so I asked ChatGPT how would the world be different how would America be different in 2025 if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016? What would America look like today? And here's the conclusion. By 2025, a Clinton win in 2016 would have meant, give me bullet points, a liberal Supreme Court preserving reproductive and civil rights, expanded health care and a strong public health response, an active U.S. role in climate diplomacy and clean energy, a strategic and alliance-focused foreign policy, a political landscape divided on policy but less dominated by personality-driven tribalism. Still, gridlock, polarization, and backlash from both right and left would likely remain defining features of American politics. Mm-hmm. So you agree with this, or things you would add? I think, again, with the whole health response, I think that 100,000 people died during COVID that didn't have to die, because the fact that how that was so bungled and then politicized with the masks and everything.
I think it's a little too rosy. I honestly think that the liberal Supreme Court thing would have been
a stretch.
A stretch, because
maybe 5-4.
was a corporatist. and along with Pelosi and Schumer. And you saw that in our last head of the Department of Justice, which I don't even want to mention his name because I hate him so much. And so if he would have become a Supreme Court justice, he would have been a middle of the road, corporatist, liberal leaning guy. He wouldn't have taken away Roe, but we would have had we would have had the corruption, but corruption light, which is, again, part of my problem with both parties. As long as you have money in this system, it's going to be bad for both the left and the right.
Yeah. Permit me to sound like Frank Zappa for a second and go back to my rant on religion, but this is what fuels it all. This is Project 2025, and he predicted it in 1989 with Ronald Reagan. He said, we're headed straight towards a theocracy, and they called him ridiculous. And so what needs to happen is critical thinking needs to replace religion, because this is what's driving Project 2025. They want a white Christian nation. This is why all the immigrants that are being taken out by ICE are Chinese, are Latinos, are dark brown people. This is why no Afrikaners come inside. You guys go the other way. It's so funny, Brian, and maybe you could appreciate this. I think Cedric does too. It's like, for the first time in my life, with what's happening now, the way they're dragging people off the streets, with the feeling that you have no power, I'm feeling 1/1000th of what a Mexican person and a black person feels like. Like, holy crap, white people are freaking evil. I never felt it this viscerally before. I feel a little black today. I can really feel it. And this must be what you as a black person feel like to the 10,000th power. Like, you can't convey that to us.
I wouldn't say that white people are evil. I wouldn't say that. I will say that there are systems that are in
not
place.
all white people.
Not all white people.
Yeah. We have, and you're Latino anyway, so you got it.
Yeah.
But they obviously, we have a caste system here in America, and we are constantly, if you're African American, you are constantly aware of it. It's something that we can't forget. And that's what pisses me off. Why is that about race? Excuse me. We didn't make it about race. We didn't write laws or define how society works based upon race. You and your forefathers are the ones who made race an issue. So don't, as Tom says, don't crawl up my ass because of the fact that I'm going to talk about how there's housing discrimination, or how there's discrimination in hiring, or how women, and especially women of color, are treated in this country and in the workplace. Yeah. So it's constantly with the I would define. I love the Chris Rock line where Chris Rock said that there is not a white man in this audience who would trade places with me right now, and I'm rich. And I'm rich. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's the truth. But the thing that's great about you and about all of most. Can I say most people is that there is some empathy about what is happening. I mean, there's still like 5,000 kids who were separated at the border from their parents during the first Trump administration, who they still have no idea where they are.
Yeah.
5,000 kids taken at the Mexican border from their parents. And so even if they found their parents, there were babies that were snatched out of their mother's arms. Yeah. And so even if they found their parents, they wouldn't know. Yeah. Wouldn't know anything about it. It's just... Go ahead.
And you're correct. You can't generalize and say all white people are bad. Obviously, there's a lot of empathy from a large portion of white people. But when those white folks get together, that few, and decide that they're going to do evil, there's nobody that does it better than those type of white folks. I feel like the Choctaw Indians and sinners trying to warn those people. It's like, oh, man, we know how bad the white people are. Good luck to you with your little casino bar thing.
And now with ungodly amounts of wealth and modern technology, they can do it even better.
Yeah. Somebody said that aforementioned South African said that empathy was a weakness.
Yeah, well, they feel that way. In terms of MAGA, they believe that empathy is a weakness. Let me ask you this: when you talk about people getting together in terms of evil, I looked this up today because I was curious. I've seen a little bit of a debate online as to people who are progressives or primarily progressives saying that Alligator Alcatraz is a concentration camp, and that America for the first time has really built a concentration camp. And you have the MAGA people on the right saying, "Oh, you're overactive. It's not a concentration camp. Nobody's killing anybody. Blah blah blah." So I looked it up. The Oxford Dictionary defines concentration camp as a place where large numbers of people especially political prisoners or members of persecuted minorities, are deliberately imprisoned in a relatively small area with inadequate facilities, sometimes to provide forced labor or to await mass execution. Now, I looked up Alligator Alcatraz on chat, and it says that Alligator Alcatraz is a rapidly built tent and cage detention site on a swampy former airstrip. Detainees describe it as blisteringly hot, insect-ridden, unsanitary with overflowed waste, minimally provisioned, poorly ventilated, and lit continuously. These conditions are aggravated by severe weather, frequent storms, and flash flooding. Official reassurances conflict sharply with firsthand accounts. So I will ask you, given the description I just read and the Oxford definition, is Alligator Alcatraz a concentration camp?
I guess it is by the definition, but none of us, I think all of us just think concentration camp, Germany.
Okay, but that's an extermination camp.
What I also learned in the past 24 hours or so is that concentration camp is a term that existed well before World War II.
That's right.
And so it's not always a death camp.
That's right.
Those are extermination camps. Come later, and it surely will. But even if it doesn't, it seems that there's a definition for concentration camp, and it fits it.
It fits it. And this ties right into what I've always said about us calling them Nazis. We're not talking about Nazis' final solution. We're talking about Nazis leading up to it. Trump's party are Nazis. That what they are doing is blatant fascism and suppression of killing minorities, ethnic cleansing. They want a white Christian. They are acting like Nazis. Not the final solution, not a death camp, but they are Nazis. That's a fair comparison.
Well, I say the stormtroopers. I mean, clearly, if you don't think that you have any problem with what it is you're doing, take your mask off and put a name tag or a badge or something to identify yourself.
I like their rationalization, like just another bad lie about being doxxed. It's like you were wearing the masks first. Like the masks came first, and then the threat of doxing. It was you showing up in tactical gear, t-shirts, sneakers, not matching, pot-bellied brown shirts, masked. That's when the idea of doxing you came up. Not
and see, and I don't have any sympathy at all about, well, this might happen to me or that might happen to me. Nobody made you be an ICE agent. There was no conscription here that you weren't drafted into being an ICE agent. You signed up for this and said, this is what it is I want to do. And when they started with what it is they're doing now, you didn't quit. Now, what's
There's something Vegas won't give you odds on.
That's our governor.
At some point in the next year, someone in ICE is going to shoot a child.
Yep.
They're going to go to the neighborhood. That it's going to be, there's going to be a tussle. Someone, because these guys aren't well trained, they're stupid, and they're just racist with guns.
But Tom, that's not bad enough. It's going to have to be somebody shot a white child.
Yeah,
you're right.
And
you're right.
Vegas wouldn't give you odds on it not being a white child.
Yeah, I wanted to show you this picture. This is Gavin Newsom. We met him in Oxnard. We have a place up in Oxnard. I don't know if you could see. He's the handsome guy, the tall, handsome guy behind my daughters. But I met him there, and I go, he's not perfect. But regarding people standing up, their reactions to ICE, he was there to talk to farm workers' families who were being plucked from the fields. And I said, listen, I thank you for what you're doing on this issue, standing toe to toe. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's pretty much what I said. And so, yeah, he is a demonstration of how political figures can really stand up and say something and be vocal and not be afraid to call him a son of a bitch and say what they're doing and separating families and taking children. And Brian, I think I heard you say that it's already happened. An ICE agent has shot a child.
No, I said they probably have.
They probably have, without us noting it. Reporters with rubber bullets, although those might have been the cops. You know, the Australian reporter that got shot by the rubber bullet.
Yeah, that's on video.
Yeah, and Brian is right. If you don't want to be exposed, don't do what you're doing.
Don't do the job.
I can't believe in this day and age that you didn't see Nazi Germany. You didn't see the SS guys who wished Nuremberg trials. You don't have to say yes to this. Go do a friendly tour of Mar-a-Lago, an insurrection there, which you say is perfectly friendly. Take that place over. Stop him. Why? That's the right thing to do. What you're doing is the wrong thing to do.
And I will tell you, the right absolutely hates Gavin. And in the interest of disclosure, I'll tell you, Gavin is, I consider, a friend of mine. I've known Gavin since he was first appointed. He was appointed to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. That was his first. That's like 30 years ago. That was his first political office, and he's just moved up from there. And he's a very, very savvy and a very, very smart man. A lot of people don't know him. He's dyslexic, I guess, severely dyslexic. Wow. And so all of the speeches that he gives, that's all memorized. Yeah. He's not reading prompter because he's dyslexic. Everything is memorized. He knows what it is that he's talking about. And
it's really great. You know me, I walked up and I go, thank you for what you do. And I go, you and Wes Moore are my guys. He's like, oh yeah, Wes Moore, great guy. So that right there, I'm liking him a little bit more because he admitted Wes Moore is a great guy. So
my question is, can he win? My question is, if 2028 ends up being Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance, who wins?
Well, given the way the world is and what's happening, and it has, as Tom has described, the loss of the MAGA base and maybe a distrust in J.D. Vance, it's possible that Gavin Newsom could take it, but the far left has to learn their lesson that you are not going to get what you want on the Middle East, on economics, on racism, on transgender. You are not going to get everything you want. Unfortunately, it's a binary choice. If it's Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance,
everything you want, hop on board. Right-winger because they get everything they want.
Yeah. You hop on board. I've said this on your show. We all need to vote to save the hive. We don't vote for what we want.
Democrats run from their base, and Republicans are like, hey, base, what can we do for you today?
Well, we are starting to see, I think, a generational shift in the Democratic Party. It's not moving as quickly as a lot of us would like, but we are starting to see a shift. So,
there was another disturbing story today about the federal government the Trump administration wanting access to voting machines in various states.
Oh boy.
And having already made some moves in that direction.
See, that's the stuff that scares me. That's what Carville says. Carville says, don't go thinking there's going to be a Democratic landslide in the midterms because they're going to rig it. That's what James Carville says.
Until they do that, I'm going to, well, first of all, my feeling about that is because we still have, voting rights are still like Roe, where it's state by state. Voting should be the same. So red states are already lost anyways, because those people are always going to be.
But are they? Because of the fact they are the ones who are going to be hit the most by the budget bill, by the big beautiful bill. Red states are going to be hit a lot harder than blue states.
I know, but there's
some of the negative effects aren't going to happen until after the midterms.
That's true.
Design.
That's right.
But some of this stuff should happen much sooner.
Yeah, it's happening now. It's happening now. It's just not an cumulative effect. You'll see it by the fall where people are starting to go, oh shit, look at my grocery bill. It's the little things that add up. And like I said, it doesn't matter what the guy behind the Oval Office desk is saying when somebody keeps hitting you in the back of the head with a lead frying pan. Eventually, you're going to start noticing the guy hitting you more so than the guy's telling you the lie that you're not being hit.
All I want is this Halloween for the Mike Myers mask to come in second to the Jeffrey Epstein mask. I want that to just outshine the Mike Myers. Everybody go out and buy your Epstein mask. Wear it for Halloween.
Yeah, all right, let me put on my tinfoil hat for a second and ask you guys this question. And going back to Epstein, because there's so much. I mean, there's something every hour. I'm sure by the time we're done recording this, I'll go and look, and there'll be 10 more stories that are broken about Epstein. Listening to, and I would invite you to listen to it's Jim Acosta's Substack. Jim Acosta used to be on CNN. Now he's got a Substack, and it's a good show. I'd never watched it before yesterday. And Epstein's brother Mark says that he had there was an autopsy that was done, and he, as a family member, was allowed to have his own coroner, his own expert there during the autopsy. And he had Dr. Michael Baden, who is probably the most famous in America, who has done hundreds, if not thousands, of autopsies. And he says that Epstein's death, based upon what it is that he saw, was not consistent with a suicide. Now, again, this is is this tinfoil hat land? Because most people think that there's some kind of cover up. I saw another thing. My friend Chip Franklin is one of my colleagues at KGO Radio. Check out his Facebook. He's got a great little package post he put together today, where he's got just all of these clips. And one of the clips he's got is a guy who was a former prisoner who was in the cell, spent 7 months in the cell that Epstein hung himself in. And he said there's absolutely no way.
Yeah, the bunk is too low.
He goes, it's absolutely no way. You can't be done. You've got guards who are coming in constantly, walking by, Then you've got the other thing that he has another part of this where somebody is analyzing the film footage that they released.
53 minutes.
Yeah, can I say that if the administration releases a tape and they say specifically, this is the raw footage, and then people look at it and the metadata and everything, and they go, this has been exported from Adobe Premiere and clearly been edited and some things. So it's like, it's not even made as bad until you say, oh, this is the raw footage. And then it's easily disproven to be absolutely not raw footage.
All right, so is it tinfoil hat stuff to say that this is?
That's really funny.
It's actually the opposite. It's almost like, are you kidding me? With this, but they didn't really care because their idea is the rubes will buy it. We're selling it. They'll buy it. No problem.
2 minutes and 53 seconds missing now, I think.
Is the tape like there he is in the cell, then there's 2 minutes missing, and there he is dead? I don't know.
Worse than that. He's there in the cell. There's 2 minutes of Gene Kelly dancing in the rain, and then there's the
and then he's
dead. Listen, I'll go even further. Is it tin hat to say? Is it tin hat to say the whole Pennsylvania thing was staged? The moving of the photographers into the right area, the flag behind them, the waiting.
But there is a dead guy. That's such a weird one. I know.
Yeah, it is.
The guy moving. I just saw that. The guy moving a Secret Service agent corralling the photographers.
Yeah.
Brian, did you send me the thing on Chat GPS about that? Because I think I posted something.
I may have. I did.
GPS says it's
not the free one.
95% chance that it was set a stage.
And
and it was. And this is not the cheap free one that you get that everybody uses.
It's just like Ashley Babbitt, that fireman was expendable. So what? Somebody loses their life. Somebody's got to lose their life to make it look real.
But they also wouldn't want to shoot too close to him. Like it shouldn't be too close to him because you got to have a great shooter to not hit him.
But see, here's the thing too, in terms of this, and that is, I'm old enough to remember when Reagan got shot. I was in high school when Reagan got shot. John Hinckley. And what happened when he got shot was all of the scheduled programming was gone. It was all minute by minute by minute. You had doctors coming out going, well, the bullet went in here. Yeah. Here's what's going on. Here's what we can expect in the next 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. All that. We get none of that here.
None of it.
Absolutely none of that. The experts coming out, medical experts, and here are the dangers, and here's what we're going to be looking for over the course of the next 6 to 12 hours. This may happen. This would be bad, but he's not showing any sign. None of that. Absolutely nothing. Just him, with his fist up in the air, and
that's so unlike him too.
Some corn syrup.
Yeah,
like that reaction. Everything we know about that man, for him to have reacted that way, and so like that seems really out of character.
Right when an eagle flinched and he jumped 5 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
But then again, he stared at the sun during the eclipse, so
yeah.
It's kind of weird how it's doing to my eyes.
You're right. There was no follow-up, and I bet you they had to convince him to probably, like, listen, Donald, you're going to have to wear a patch. It doesn't look good. I don't want to wear it. Donald, you got to wear a patch because we already said you were hit by an AR-222, what is it, 223 Remington round from an AR-15. Mm-hmm. That's going to, you got to wear a patch. I don't want to wear a patch. It's going to look silly. Just wear it for about a week or so and then take it off, and then miraculously your ear will be fine and nobody will care.
All right, let me ask you this. Here's the other thing. All right, you told me again, who shot Reagan?
John Hinckley.
Okay. Who shot Trump?
Gooby guy, 16-year-old Republican guy.
You know, Tom? You know?
I don't know either of the two attempts, right?
I don't know the name of it. I mean, not to say that they didn't happen. That's not the point. But the point is, I'm trying to illustrate how little coverage there was
on the shooter.
Does he even have a 3-part name? like Lee Harvey, et cetera?
No.
We don't even know.
We know who shot John Lennon. Yep. You remember who shot George Wallace?
No, in fact, I don't remember who shot George
James
Wallace.
Earl Ray shot Martin Luther King.
James Earl Ray shot Martin Luther King.
Somebody shot George Wallace?
Sirhan.
Not the comedian.
Bobby Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bobby Kennedy. Oswald.
Sirhan would have been ridiculous with a third Sirhan.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit the pattern.
Sirhan.
Yeah, it's like Beetlejuice. Sirhan. Hey, what do you want?
You're making a wish. And then the genie pops out of the bottle.
Oh, Lord.
So, in all the talking about why the Epstein case is so sticky and why it's so, and everything invested in it and how it represents, I'm the one on this panel to ask, do you think it's extra juicy because his name is Epstein?
No, I don't think
because you get to bring in Jew hatred. I don't know. I think it helps with the MAGA base.
Well, that's true. Yeah. In that sense, yeah. Yeah. That could be like Mama.
It's the pedophile. When we say liberal pedophiles, some of them are saying Jew.
Yeah.
By saying that.
No, I would agree with that.
Or Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
You've already had it with Harvey, and was that a negative towards him? But you might be right. To his base, that could be a turnoff.
But his administration his first administration certainly was all very, very pro-Israel. Yeah. Very, very pro-Israel. And I think Netanyahu who says that he's nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, that's always been a myth.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Maybe he's always like his administration and his son-in-law and everything.
Yeah.
But he's always been the choice of racists.
Yeah.
He's been the choice of the KKK and the Proud Boys.
When the KKK endorsed him for the first time, I'll never forget reading the news story.
That's a great news story. In itself.
They endorsed him in their newspaper. I didn't know the KKK had a newspaper.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Yeah, there's apparently a new. I didn't know they could read.
Everything's written in bold.
It's not really a newspaper. It's a guy that goes by house and goes, here's what's happening.
Except it's reversed. We have black background and white lettering because white should always be on top of black. Like microfiche. I got a two-question parter for you. Do you think, because Cedric Yarborough, when I mentioned Westmore, he's like, no, don't throw a black man for a candidate for president. It's Charlie Brown kicking a football. First of all, do you think somebody like Westmore could win? And second of all, do you think there will ever be a black / or African-American nominee for president for the Republican Party?
I think yes.
Really?
I would say yes. That in terms of the second part of the question, first part of the question, I don't know. But, the second part of the question, yeah, I think if the Republican Party goes back to being the Republican Party,
right,
and gets rid of theocracy as its doctrine and platform and mission statement, and goes back to the Eisenhower Republican Party, where it's smaller government, it's less government interference, it's free markets and things like that. You got to remember, Eisenhower's the one that sent out the National Guard to get to the Little Rock 7. The high school students that the governor would not allow to enroll.
So the party's got to change a lot.
Yeah,
the party's got to change a lot. And here's the question: Can the party survive this? That's the question.
Well, it's going to be a long time. It's probably going to be the same thing that happened during the Great Depression. At least I'm hoping. But you're seeing a lot of seismic stuff already. There, I was just reading today where, what's her face? I'm drawing a blank on her name. She's New York in the House, and she was going to be
not AOC.
No, Republican.
Oh,
creepy lady.
Oh, Nancy Mace.
No, New York State.
Stefanik?
Yes. Stefanik.
At least Stefanik, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, they're saying she's got a really good chance of losing her district because her district is getting killed by the lack of Canadian tourists. People are losing their minds. The farmers are getting nailed out there, and they're all Republicans. All these, all these guys are Republicans, and they're all losing their mind. Somebody did a town hall out there. A Democrat did a town hall, and it was, I think, the governor of New York. And it was packed, standing room only. A lot of Republicans.
Speaking of state New York, aren't they investigating where Kamala Harris got 0 votes? Aren't they? Isn't that under investigation now? The district where Kamala Harris received 0 votes.
I don't know the story.
Yeah, they're looking at the voter turnout. What happened in the results is that there was a county in upstate New York where Democrats had always garnered certain amounts of the votes, but in this most recent election, she got 0. And so that there would be an investigation into that. As it relates to what Brian said about the voting machines changing, and what that would be the next bombshell, I think, that could help, along with Epstein, is for Musk to get really pissed off at Trump and go, we cheated. And I'm going to tell you how we cheated, and I have proof that we cheated. That would be, I think...
He wouldn't do that. There's no way he's going to do that, because how do you do that and stay out of federal prison?
Well,
move back to South Africa?
You make a deal. You do that, but you only do that when you have...
immunity.
When you have when you have a Democratic president.
Yeah.
With Democratic DOJ.
Or you just go back to South Africa and say it from there.
Well, we have an extradition treaty with South Africa.
Well, you just go to where they don't have. You go to Mexico with Brian.
Exactly. All right, so tell me, Brian, we were talking out the air, and I told you to save this for the show. All right, so you have been in Mexico, living in Mexico since the end of May.
May 14th. Middle of May, yeah.
Because your Independence Day. Congratulations. And you have been back across the border a number of times. So tell me, what's it like to cross the border as an American from Mexico coming that direction to here?
You know, what's it like at the border? There is a little bit of fear, which some people might even think is unfounded. And I'm a white American, a Jew, but I seem to be a white American to most people. And so, like, statistically, what are the odds that I would be hassled? But the first trip I took back, it just so happened I was going to D.C. 2 days after the big birthday bash, and then to L.A. right when these, like, the overblown riots were happening. Right. And so that was a little weird. And the other time was passing through. I was going to Germany, and I wondered, like, should I book routing that doesn't involve the U.S.? I think that today it's not necessarily a problem for me, but I think that it could, but it only isn't until it is. And we see that with all these things. We have seen ICE has picked up citizens. ICE has picked up all sorts of people they shouldn't be. And so I do know this. I was in a meeting with a lot of scientists, and there was an American scientist. I think her family is from Taiwan originally. She's born in California, has a Valley Girl, so she might look Taiwanese, but she's born and sounds like a Valley Girl. And she was out of the country coming back in, and she got hassled a little bit. She was asked, why are you coming to the United States? She's like, because I live here. Yeah. And then a series of other questions that was a little intimidating. And she's just returning to her home country like any other American born and raised.
It's so scary. The fact that you have citizens being
another guy. Yeah. A Mexican who works in Germany. He was just transiting through the United States, and he got hassled and like, why are you here? And it's like, what is he even supposed to say? I'm only here as a layover. I'm not here. Leave me alone. Wow. Just because I'm Mexican. I'm going to Germany. Wow. Asked questions they weren't, and in a way, in an unfriendly way that intimidated them.
Who was it on Fox News that said, was it Homan who just flat out said that we're going to be profiling people? In terms of
basically like that. He said that little list of things. It's like we don't, like as a basis for hassling you. I don't know what he said exactly, but it was a list of things, including like what you look like.
Well, that's been going on that's been going on in Texas forever. What I understand, that's been going on in Texas forever. So, and again, the farmers are not happy about this. The farmers are not happy about this at all.
Targeting California with the ICE raids, he's definitely being punitive against California. He's not going into Texas and doing the ICE raids there as much, right? And our economy is going to suffer for it. There's not going to be nobody to pick the crops anymore, but in turn, that's going to affect the rest of the nation. When they want fresh vegetables and when they want food sent to them, we're going to have to charge them more. So everything that Trump is doing is it's all revenge. It's all revenge based because he's a child.
He says he's accomplished more since January than any president in the first 6 months in the presidency ever. That's what
I just love seeing those fat ankles getting fatter and the bruises on his hands getting darker. I love it. I hope he's in pain.
Read this, but I think I saw this today, which is
yeah.
What's it say? I can't read it.
I'm going to get me one of them technology
jobs they took.
Like everything about it, it's like, except that there is this little glimmer of truth in there. It's like that's what's being sold to them anyway.
Of course it is.
Is that they're taking your, it's like, but the thing is, I imagined this, and I've seen smarter people say it even more specifically. It's like all roads do lead this way. You get rid of all these immigrants, and then you have requirements for the remaining people. If you don't want to lose your Medicaid, you have to work. So it's out into the fields with you.
Dr. Oz is on it already.
Yeah. It's like, it looks like that's
child labor too. Adults don't want to do it, so we'll get kids, 14-year-old kids. If you want to go to school or you want to go to college, you got to go out and pick crops.
Let me ask you that. You mentioned Dr. Oz. Are any of you surprised to find out which way Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil lean politically?
It's when they were introduced through the Oprah sphere, it's disappointing. Now I guess I'm not surprised, but yeah, it's sad to learn that they lean that way. It's like, we saw you on Oprah. We thought you were decent people. What the hell?
I kind of have a theory on this where there's kind of like a general 3 categories of people that have empathy. There's people that have empathy, but only for people in their immediate circle. Mm-hmm. They really can't do empathy outside that at all. And then there's the people that are just kind of lost in the middle. And I don't know if you heard about any of this stuff with Anna Kasparian over at TYT, the Young Turks, whatever that is.
Anna Kasparian and
she talked about how the left left me. Well, she was never really. If I could no more leave being a lefty than I could remove my skin at the end of the night.
People always say that crap.
Yeah,
I didn't leave them; they left me.
Right. It's people who never were there in the first place.
Yep.
There was no there. They're just kind of, they'll just, whatever the way the wind is blowing, that's where they are. And I really think that's where Joe Rogan is. I always thought Joe was pretty much a lefty, but then I realized, no, he's not. You can't possibly be a lefty and want to move to Texas. And I know his argument was supposedly the extreme weather, or violent weather or whatever, the violent conditions. But I found this out. Texas is 3rd to California's number 2. So you want less extreme weather, move to Wyoming, or less critical weather, catastrophic things.
This is what I said about Rogan too. This was a guy whose values were so pure that he stormed on stage to protest Carlos Mencia stealing jokes, yet he won't criticize Trump. What happened to that, Joe?
Yeah.
You guys were talking
say the
earlier.
very argument, Brian, that you were saying with that thing about like the party changed on me, because I've seen so many apologists for him saying that, he was a Bernie guy and it's the party that changed and pushed him. And what have we done to push Joe Rogan away?
No,
nothing. And again, we come back to the arena where you don't vote for the politics has changed. We are now voting to stop evil. So if your party doesn't give you everything you want anymore, that's too bad. You don't vote for your party to give you everything you want that's pure and progressive. You vote to stop evil. You are a worker bee. You show up, you punch no on Trump and Truntas, and that's it. You don't get choices anymore.
Oh, stop romanticizing it.
I know, right?
We were talking earlier about how in terms of empathy, and it's really interesting how with a lot of people on the right, they're not empathetic about things until they affect them personally. That's what we're talking about in terms of the election and everything. So there is a meme that was going around that I posted, and it's got a picture of Nancy Reagan, and it says, "I'm a Republican. I was against gun safety laws until my husband got shot. I opposed gay rights until my daughter came out. I fought stem cell research until Ronnie got Alzheimer's. I'm a Republican, which means I won't give a shit about you until it happens to me." Is that fair? Do you think that's fair?
Oh,
I think that's fair, yeah.
And I think there are people on the left like that, but they just are in key places. But again, it's about what degree of empathy that you have. And I really believe that most hardcore Republicans, their empathy is zero. They'll kick their kids. Some of them will even kick their kids out if they're gay. Yeah. Because they have zero empathy for something that's not them.
I never understood that. I mean, I have known a couple of people who told me the story where they haven't had relationships with their parents in years because their parents kicked them out when they found out that they were gay. How do you do that? I'm a father. I just can't. I really can't think of anything that would make me kick my kids out. Unless it was like, a drug thing and you had to do tough love or, because intervention, something like that.
They weren't sharing enough of it. I know.
There's that
they were
wonderful line by Martin Luther King Jr. in a speech. He's talking to a reporter, a delineation of empathy when they say they tell us to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. What if we don't have bootstraps to pick ourselves up with?
You gotta have boots, I think is what it was.
Pardon me?
You got to have boots in order to have bootstraps.
He says something along that effect, and that, to me, keys into the delineation of empathy between Republicans. And because even now, Oz is saying you need to get a job to earn that Medicare. Some people can't. No. They were hurt at the work job, or they're born without arms, or whatever. They can't get a job.
Well, then you don't deserve health care, do you?
Well, you know what? Yeah, but how about the fact that their tax money that they paid when they were able to work helped to support Medicaid? I mean, what about that? What about the fact, again, I'm so sick of Social Security being called an entitlement. I've been paying into it. I've been paying into it since I was 15 years old, lying about my age, in order to get a job. I lied and said I was 16 and I wasn't. Now I've been paying into it since then. So now you're going to tell me it's an entitlement? It's just...
You're entitled to it.
Yeah, I want to hit every news person in the face with a frying pan when they use those words. It really drives me nuts. That is not what it is.
Have they undone the New Deal? That has been a Republican priority since FDR, first implemented it.
They're really close.
If they wanted to undo the New Deal,
they're really close.
Yeah, take it apart, take out all community help, take it out all foster care. What was this latest thing they did? Shutting down public television, shutting down food for kids, all kinds of stuff, USAID, all that kind of stuff.
Well, they're not shutting it down. They're just cutting funding for it.
Yeah, which eventually will drown out.
And somehow we're the godless liberals and they're good Christians.
Yeah, it is. I think they are getting close to gutting the New Deal and gutting. And the South never really lost. They were just lying in wait. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen, oh God, what was the movie with the zombies and buried underneath the snow?
They were just. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'll get it later. But yeah, they were just waiting. Just below the surface of the earth, all these Confederacy guys, because we knew they lost the war. It's like, we'll be back, man. We just sleeping here. We're waiting to get the right candidate and use God as a cudgel.
That's why what Reagan...
Deep Snow.
End, right. Reagan was the beginning of the end. And ironically, I think Deep Snow, they were Nazis, the zombies.
Correct, right? Exactly.
So
Nazi zombies.
But I think Reagan was the beginning of the end because he changed the tax laws, which opened the floodgates for rich people to start corrupting our political system.
Yep.
Yes, he did. Well, also, too, I mean, in terms of racial polarization, I will go back to Reagan. Did you guys remember where Reagan announced that he was running for president, his official presidential announcement?
I remember he called them monkeys.
Well, actually, they have there's a tape of FDR saying something like that.
Probably.
That I heard. But anyway, here's where the place where Reagan announced he was running for president in 1980 was was in Philadelphia, Mississippi, which is the place where they found the bodies of Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney, the three civil rights workers who were murdered during the civil rights movement. These three volunteers, they were from New York. They were from
Mississippi Burning, right?
That's right. And that's where Reagan chose, and it was a speech about states' rights and how he was going to return states' rights. So, with that, we're out of time. This went fast, as it always does. And as I said, I'm sure we're going to see a ton of, as soon as we log off and start seeing what's going on in the last hour, 20 minutes. I'm sure there's a bunch more stuff.
Yeah.
So, Carlos, anything you want to mention? Any appearances coming up?
I'm a rock, paper, scissors, as usual, on Nickelodeon, along with other things. August 16 and 17, Long Island, New York, Tropicon. I will be there. I believe Rob Paulson's going to be there. My friend Jenny Kwan. It's a con. It's in Long Island. Come out and see us. That's August 16 and 17. And I apologize, Tom. Thank you for calling me. I was actually having lunch with the family of an autistic girl named Amber Jones. She has a podcast, and she came in to meet some voiceover actors. So I was doing a good thing while I was being addle-brained. Brian, it's great to see you. I'm sure your Spanish is better better than mine. And
no, but it needs to be.
It needs to be. So I apologize for being late. Thank you, Tom, for
no
calling
worries.
me.
No worries.
Thank you for letting me be a guest. But that's it. That's a plug for me.
Okay, Brian, you coming to America for anything or?
Maybe, but
Why?
I do have, I know, I have, I've done some appearances on this Dan Aykroyd hosted show on the History Channel. It's called The Unbelievable. And I just found out yesterday that it's been picked up for a third season. And
awesome.
And I will be coming to I shouldn't tell anyone. Shh. I probably will be coming to the United States in September or October to shoot something in New York or LA.
Cool. All right.
Wonderful.
All right. And Tom, your documentary about Cobbs is still available?
Yes, on Prime and on Tubi.
What's it called, Tom?
The Comedy Club.
I'm going to watch it.
Cobbs, yeah, it's awesome. Saggett's in it and really funny. And so many, Dana Carvey, a lot of people that we all know and love. And plus, if you forget how... the history of Cobbs is a lot of that's all there.
From Fillmore to the North Point to Columbus, right?
Yep.
And that's Cobbs in San Francisco for those out of the area who are listening. And I want to mention again the Great American Shit Show. If you are in the Bay Area, you can catch it in Berkeley at the Marsh and Theater, and that is there's some tickets still left available. It is an early show. It's a 5:00 show that we're doing. So it's if you love Trump, don't come. You're gonna hate this. We say that it says on the posters, if you love Trump, you'll hate this show. So come and check it out. Also, my second crime fiction novel is out and doing very well. It's called Shadows of Justice. The first one that came out last year, Outraged, was just nominated for the prestigious Macavity Award for Best First Mystery.
And remember the title of that was Kill Whitey.
That was the working title. I changed it like my second draft.
You're big readers, but go back and read Frankenstein and Dracula.
I do.
Frankenstein is great. I've read Frankenstein a couple times, but I've never read Dracula.
Yeah, it's easy. It's much easier than Frankenstein. A lot less dense and a lot more action.
You ever read the graphic novel, the League of Extraordinary?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna read.
Oh, you should read. Mina Harker's in it, and what it is Alan Moore took a bunch of Victorian Captain Nemo and Alan Quatermain and
Oscar
a bunch
Wilde.
of Victorian. No, he's not Oscar Wilde. All right, that's going to do it for us. We will be back next week with another panel. If you want to support this podcast or this YouTube show, a couple ways to do it. To support us on YouTube, please subscribe. As soon as we get enough subscribers, we can do this live instead of having to record it the day before. If you were listening to us, go to your podcast provider and leave us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that. So be sure to like and to share. So we'll check out next week. Till then, hold on, keep the faith, and be kind to your neighbor because he knows where you live.